With all the new multitasking features coming to iPad OS 26, a keyboard case is now more useful than ever with an iPad. And in this video, we're going to take a look at the ESR Rebound case for the iPad A16. This is a great Bluetooth keyboard case that allows you to take your iPad and basically turn it into a mini laptop. What I love about the Rebound is it has a design similar to the Magic Keyboard where there's the cantilever design, but typically for the iPad A16, you can't actually get a cantilever style keyboard case straight from Apple. So this is great because it allows you to have that cantilever design and in a nice compact package. The biggest drawback to this case though is it actually uses Bluetooth instead of the smart connector to connect to the iPad. So what's cool about this is it's very compact, it's got the leather look, and it looks almost like an Apple product. They also added this magnetic clasp on it so you can use this to keep your Apple Pencil secured in place while you're transporting it. And whenever you go to open it up, you can just magnetically attach it to the back. This is pretty thick though. I found this actually is heavier and thicker than any of the comparable Apple Magic keyboards. So this has the cantilever design so you can adjust the viewing angle. I did find the viewing angle of this keyboard to be a little bit narrow though. I wish that you could tilt it back a little bit more depending on the way that you're using this. So since this uses Bluetooth, you first have to wake it up from sleep whenever you go to use it. So to do that, you press and hold the power button. If you want to put this in Bluetooth pairing mode, and you just have to press and hold the function button and the B key at the same time, and then you'll see the Bluetooth light at the top start to blink to show you that it's now in pairing mode. And it also has a trackpad that I find to be pretty responsive and to work pretty well. Not quite as good as the Apple Magic Keyboard Folio or the Apple Magic Keyboard for the iPad Air or the iPad Pro, but it definitely gets the job, and it gives you the ability to resize your windows and just to move very quickly across the iPad like you can only really do with a keyboard case. Let's do a quick typing test with this. So since this uses Bluetooth, it does require recharging it with the USB port on the side of it. And you also have a backlight that's built into it as well. So you can change the backlight color by pressing and holding the function button and toggling between those. Then you can also adjust the backlighting levels using another key. So there's no function row on this keyboard, which is definitely a drawback to it. But if you hold function and use any of those number keys on the top, there's several different shortcuts you can use, like screen brightness, dictation, changing the backlighting, skipping songs, and adjusting the volume. So I do really wish this had dedicated function buttons, but that's a trade-off that you have to make to get in this keyboard case. I also found with the 11-inch one, the number keys kind of feel like they're right under the screen, so it almost feels like the screen needed to be elevated a little bit more, or if the hinge had a little bit more flexibility on the back of it, that would help as well. I did find that this is comfortable to either type with on top of a table, or this also works great on your lap as well because the bottom of this case is so rigid, so you don't have to worry about it flexing or tipping over while you're typing on it. It has a very good balanced feel. Probably the biggest drawback to this keyboard case though is the fact that it uses Bluetooth and it uses its own battery instead of just using the power built into the iPad. So this means you have to deal with the Bluetooth pairing and keeping it recharged. It'll also put itself to sleep after 10 minutes of inactivity, and every time you want to go use this, you have to press and hold the power button for a couple seconds to activate the keyboard. So this is just a little bit more annoying than if you use something like the Logitech Combo Touch or one of Apple's OEM keyboards. But again, we're talking about the one for the iPad A16, in which case I actually think this is a really great buy because you can find the ESR Rebound anywhere from $75 to $100, which is going to be substantially cheaper than the Logitech or the Apple keyboard cases that are available for this iPad. If you're buying the iPad A16, it might not make as much sense to go out and buy a crazy expensive keyboard case like the Apple Magic Keyboard Folio is pretty pricey when you compare it to this, and it doesn't have the cantilever design. So the ESR Rebound is kind of a keyboard case of trade-offs to me. To me, it's a great buy if you're buying the iPad A16 because it does come in at such an affordable price, and it has all the features that you could want, very good typing action, and it adds the trackpad. I just found this to be heavier than Apple's keyboards, and also the trackpad not to be as accurate as the Apple one. So if you're looking at the ESR keyboards, make sure that you check the iPad model you have and get the keyboard case that matches it, because if you have the iPad Air, the iPad Pro, or the iPad A16, then you're going to need a different keyboard case because these all just magnetically attach to the iPad. The magnetic connectors are in different spots and the camera cutouts are in different locations as well. So make sure that you pick the case that goes with the iPad you own. So the ESR Rebound is not my all-time favorite iPad keyboard case, but for the iPad A16, it does make a lot of sense because you get that cantilever design. There's just a couple of trade-offs that you have to deal with, like the Bluetooth, keeping it recharged, the fact that the angle of it is not super adjustable. The trackpad is not as nice as the Apple or the Logitech OEM cases, but this still does a great job at adding the functionality of the trackpad and great typing performance to an iPad, and it really transforms the whole iPad experience, especially with iPadOS 26 coming to the iPad A16, and now we have so many more features like resizing windows and multitasking that were previously not available in it. So if you've got the iPad A16, I think the ESR Rebound is a great option for you to consider if you're trying to convert your iPad into more of a laptop-like experience. If you got any questions about this case, leave a comment down below. I'd love to answer them. Like this video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any upcoming content. If you're interested in buying the ESR Rebound, I do have links to buy in the description below.